Hello, everybody, and welcome to the most enjoyable half hour of your day. You are watching What's My House Worth? My name is Rob Ticktin. This is Ryan McDonnell over there, and we are realtors with Hawthorn Properties. But we're not here as realtors today, Ryan. We're here as TV show hosts.
Entertainers?
That too.
Personalities?
All of the above.
Can we be realtors also?
Yeah, why not? Might as well. Couldn't hurt, since we're going to be talking about all the sales in Needham in the month of
May. April.
April. Got you, Ryan. Don't worry, you got a chance to redeem yourself down the road.
Or we just use this as next month's lead-in.
Oh, not bad. Save us a little bit of time. Anyway, we're doing things a little bit differently this month,
That's
Ryan.
why I was so jumbled at the beginning.
Understood.
I'm nervous.
I understand. I am too. The question is, do we disclose what we're doing differently, or do we let people figure it out? I think we have to disclose it just so people aren't confused.
Yeah, and don't we have to give credit where credit's due? Didn't somebody ask for this?
I don't think so. I think this was actually my idea.
Oh.
So
Well,
yeah,
we'll
we
give you
do.
credit.
We do. We're going to be doing our slides, instead of doing it from low price to high price, this month we're going to be doing it
Alphabetically,
Ryan, that's right. So if you have your eyes set on a particular listing, it'll be that much easier to know whether or not you've missed it. So here we go. Before we dive into the individual sales, let's look at the big picture, as I like to call it, Ryan. And the monthly sales data for the month of, Ryan?
April.
Correct, April. And as you look at the numbers, Ryan, what do you see?
I see a so-so April as far as number of sales. I mean, 20 doesn't seem like a lot. Mm-hmm. Last month we had 26. Last year we had 19. So it's consistent with prior year April.
How about those prices?
Yeah,
though?
the prices is where we're seeing the differences. So we have an average list price this year of almost 1.2. That's up from $962 last year. Mm-hmm. So that's a pretty big jump. An average sale price of also close to 1.2 at 1.171. But our percentages still, Rob, they're not great. We like to see that 98.5% of original list rather than just of list. But it's better than we've been seeing. I mean, we've been in the 97 range for lists and like the low 90s, low to mid 90s for original lists. So improving, I think that's a sign of the spring market. And then our price per square foot at $377, that's consistent. Our days on market at 70 is a bit down from where we've been, so that's good.
All right, so good numbers, or at least it appears at this point. Let's take a look at the last 6 months now. And we are out of the doldrums of the winter, Ryan, and we have some decent numbers out there, but those numbers are just going to climb going forward, right?
Yeah, I think our May and June and July and August, all those sales numbers are going to be pretty high. They'll definitely be above 20.
Right, which will translate to more work for me.
Right, right. But yeah, I mean, it's the bumpy road that we expect to see this time of year. 20 sales in April. As we get to the next slide, Rob, is pretty consistent.
Okay, so yeah, like you said, it's been pretty much a straight line over the course of the last 3 years. In the month of April, 28 was a biggie there back in 2012, but we'll wipe that off the board next year.
Yeah.
And that range is pretty tight. I feel like it's been like that for the last few months, that we've been pretty consistent year over year in terms of number of sales.
Yeah, and we see that when we look at the macro numbers year over year, we're always right in that like 330 sales per year range.
Yeah, right.
And it's just the distribution just always looks very similar. The graphs would be almost identical if you just showed them without the numbers in them.
Which is interesting considering the fact that the inventory levels have changed so much over the last few years.
It's just demand has been constant.
There we go. Okay, let's alphabetically, don't forget, we're going to look at all the listings, the 20 sales. And so with that in mind, we're going to start on no A's this month, Ryan. We're going to start on Bird Street. That would be 5 Bird Street. This one sells for $762, well over original list. This is a kind of a tricky location. It's on a little bit of a peninsula because it's abutting Ryberry Hillway, Greendale Ave, and Bird Street. Yeah,
it's on the corner of Bird and Greendale. Recently sold as well, 2014, sold for $661. A little bit of work went into it between then and now, particularly in the kitchen, which is always a good place to do a little bit of work, if a little bit of work is all you're going to do.
Yep.
But still, Rob, I thought $762 was strong.
Yeah, it sold for $661 in 2014, so that's not bad.
Yeah.
Quick $100,000 there. That house built in 1952, assessed value of $658. So we're going to jump now to Cutler Road.
Okay.
Of course, that starts with a C. And 82. Oh, don't worry.
This is for all our preschool viewers.
82 Cutler Road in Saddlebrook Estates, Ryan.
Yeah.
And almost 2,000 square feet in the lower level.
Yeah, Rob, this house felt like you're walking into a hotel in like Fort Lauderdale. Remember?
I do.
Very modern, very Floridian.
That's right.
And
I kind of felt at home, right?
Yeah, especially the basement. We walked out to like this walkout basement right to the pool patio area. It was very cool. Like, I mean, it was obviously for a certain taste.
No doubt.
Very, very modern finish, like we said. The basement to me was the highlight. You know, full kitchen, bar, lots of space. It had that. Remember that changing room that was wallpapered, and the seat was wallpapered. So it was like the seat was almost invisible. So it was cool. It was a cool house. Went out at at just under $3 million, which is in Needham obviously aggressive. But I think it's worth every penny of 2250 if it fits your taste.
Right.
Because if you're going to go in there and try to change the decor, I mean, you're spending a gajillion dollars.
Well, it's one of those homes. It's like you said, it's a very specific taste. You know, it's going to sell eventually. It's just going to take a little bit of time.
Right.
Unlike the one we saw right before that. Next up, 29 Dawson Drive, and this is, for all intents and purposes, a new construction home, except
foundation. So this one is on the corner of Dawson and Dunbarton, and it's at the bottom of the hill. Like Dawson is as you're going up Birds Hill. This one's right at the bottom, and I just remember having experience with a house on Dunbarton that was under construction back in, remember, March 2010?
Who could forget?
I mean,
the rain.
Yeah, so we were standing on the deck at the house on Dunbarton watching water come down. It was like a waterfall, just streaming down Birds Hill right into 29 Dawson.
Okay.
So I'm sure that preparations have been made for that kind of an onslaught, but it's just situated right in a catch basin of where all the runoff comes down that hill, and it was pretty amazing to see it, just the magnitude of water going into that house. But that was 7 years ago.
Yeah, and you talk about 100-year storms,
yeah,
that would certainly qualify.
That was a doozy.
Correct.
But okay.
All right. Staying in the D's, we're going to go to 54 Douglas Road, and this is a listing, Ryan, that had a lot of action, and the reason it did is because it had a lot of things going for it, really. The one thing working
listing
against
agent?
it, well, of course, that was part of it, but because it was listed by our office. But what I was going to say was the kitchen was a little small. That was the one thing that was not working.
Well, so was the lot.
So was the lot. Yeah.
I think the lot was. Yeah, you're right. The kitchen was nice.
It was fine.
It was updated, just a little small. You're right.
And I just point out the kitchen because everything else was really perfect.
Yeah, and
it's two-car attached garage, really good neighborhood, nice big family room, cool master suite, a lot of good things going for it.
And 2,600 square feet is not a little bit of space.
Yeah.
And if a very little of that is in the kitchen, that's a lot of space in the other rooms.
Yes.
So I think location's great. A little small, kitchen a little small, but otherwise the house is well over $1 million.
Agreed. It actually reminds me of a house that closed in May that we'll be getting to next month. It's an interesting comparison, but maybe we'll cross that bridge 30 days from now. Sorry, I digress.
Yeah,
next up, 49 Elmwood Road is our next listing, staying in the same general vicinity, wouldn't you say?
Yep, this is the non-train side of Elmwood.
Yeah, and an interesting history for this house, Ryan, in the sense it sells for $1,285 in 07 as a new home. Then it sells for $122 in 09, 2 years later.
It was
so
a
there's
reload.
A little depreciation, you would think. But then here we are 8 years later, and it sells for $1,365, so $145,000 more than it sold for in 2009.
Yeah, I would say its value is held. It's a great spot. It is an excellent commuter location, I will agree. And like I mentioned, it's not on the side of Elmwood where the train is running through your backyard. So, nice sized lot. I like it.
Yeah. Okay. Our next listing is 80 Evelyn Road. This, of course, is off Webster Street, a little bit closer to 128. New construction, right? I think this is our first new construction that we're talking about today,
Yeah, we don't usually
right?
get to them this early in the show because they're all mixed in the alphabet thing.
New construction homes, Ryan, are the big winners with our new format.
Right, exactly. We definitely have more time to give them attention. But you know what this one was, Rob? I don't know if you remember when we were there. First of all, I think 1440, I think this got a good price, and I think we'll see that illustrated later on as we see some other new constructions this month. But this one, remember we walked out into the backyard, and I was just kind of like, what's missing? And as I noticed, there wasn't a single planting other than grass.
That's correct.
The lawn was perfect. The patio, you walk off the patio, and it was just right onto grass, and it covered every inch of the lawn. There weren't any mulched beds or plantings, right? It was just, I found it peculiar, but it didn't look bad. It just didn't have anything.
Yeah. I mean, at least, I'll take sod with no plantings than seeded grass with plantings, because you can always add in the plantings later, right?
True. Just, it was plantingless.
And I am a big sod fan, as you know. Our next listing is a little bit different direction. It's close to Volante, right off Nehoyden, or not far from Nehoyden, I should say. Actually, Central is what I meant to say.
I thought so.
198 Forest Street, and this house, Ryan, was kind of an interesting story with this house in the sense that it was, it had a set of pictures on there that were taken at dusk, and it was very dark.
Yeah.
All the pictures were.
Except for this one.
Well, no, I was gonna say, and then the pictures disappeared, and new pictures came on in every room in the outside. And they were much, much, much brighter.
Okay.
And then within like a week of that happening, it goes under agreement.
Coincidentally, there was also a price reduction during that same week, but yeah.
I'll attribute it to the pictures. Thank you very much.
I mean, I think it went out a little hot. So you settled at 660, right? Yep. So had that house, because there's tons of demand for houses in the sixes.
Yes.
So what would have happened, do you think? It was on the market for 34 days. What if you had priced that house at 649?
Yep.
I mean, couldn't you argue you would have landed likely at the same 660? You would have done it in 4 days, and you would have done it with holding all the cards if you're the seller.
Correct, and you wouldn't have had to retake pictures.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. That's tons of work.
To me, one of the tough things about this house was the fact that it was a tandem driveway, but with retaining walls on both sides.
Yeah, so it was like you really was tight getting in there.
And you're on Forest, so it's a little busy anyway. So it's if you have two people that own cars in that house, it's not like you can just. It's tough to maneuver.
Yeah. Is that one of those things that you think that you'll really appreciate when you're looking at it, or you'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm in driveway jail, like after you own it?
Oh, you have to know. You have to know. But I guess you never do know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, over to 445 Greendale Avenue, and don't let the last line fool you, Ryan, because you read that line on listing sheet, front patios uneven and cracked in places. You're like, ooh.
Yeah, but wasn't that preceded by like structural issues with garage too?
I don't know, but did you see the pictures of the house?
Well, yeah, everything's updated.
Correct.
Except for the kitchen.
Right.
And like they even did, new roof, new HVAC. But you're right, it does highlight, because the beginning half of that disclosure was basically don't go in the garage.
Yeah.
And it's as is, and look out.
And
then it goes on to say, front patio is a mess. So it's putting all its cards on the table, and it sold
good and bad.
Yeah, it sold for well over asking. So
and it had one car garage with 2 attached storage sheds. Did you see that?
No.
You don't see that every day.
No, you don't. Were those also in danger of collapsing?
I do not know.
Okay.
I can't speak to that.
Yeah, all right. But yeah, like you said, everything. The other thing was that there's a master suite on the first floor, but that's the only bath on the first floor.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Better than no bath at all.
No, that's true.
Big front yard at that house and a big front yard at our next house.
Big lots of yard at the next house.
That has a street that starts with G. 380 Grove Street. And did you read on the listing sheet here? It said, according to the town of Needham, land area ranges from 4.71 to 5.09 acres.
It depends on how well you're getting along with your neighbor.
And to their credit, right, to their credit, the listing agent went with the lower number, which is a smart move here.
Yeah. I think the first thing you're doing, obviously, is getting a survey and putting up a fence.
Right.
But this is almost a 5-acre lot. So you're going to see a development project going on here that may or may not include preserving and restoring the house that's there.
Right. Or how about subdividing?
Well, that's what I mean.
Right. Okay.
So it's you're going to have a multi-home development.
Yep.
And there's also the property abutting it, which is maybe they may be sharing some square footage if we don't know that yet, but that's also available for sale. That's also multiple acres. So you could see, there could be a lot going on in Grove Street. And Grove Street, as you know, is out by Wellesley.
Right.
Basically the border between Needham and Wellesley.
Correct.
So.
Okay. Next up is 191 High Rock Street. This is we're back into new construction. This one's on an 11,300 square foot lot. And any thoughts about this one, Ryan?
This one was purchased for $599, end of December of 2015. So that $4,500 includes a finished basement. Mm-hmm. So we start to look at these new constructions. This one, when you compare it to Evelyn, this is $15,000 less. It's almost a good 500 square feet larger. Mm-hmm. Location-wise, what do you think, Evelyn or High Rock Street?
That's a good question.
Yeah. And this is between Richardson and Emerson on High Rock, so closer to Chestnut.
Well, why don't we, on the count of 3, we'll say which one we'd prefer, which location we'd prefer individually if you had a choice between the two. You ready?
Okay, yeah.
1, 2, 3.
High
Evelyn.
Rock. See, I'm High Rock.
Yeah, that shows you it's a coin flip.
Yeah.
Because Evelyn's a quieter street.
It is a quieter street.
But you like the location of High Rock
Yeah,
better.
I like being where that is.
All right, that's fair. Sometimes there is no wrong answer.
Right.
Okay, so our next listing is 53 Homestead Park, and as you look at this listing, what do you see there, Ryan?
A rendering, but I also see some red writing.
That's what I was going for, red writing. So we've talked many times on the show about sometimes, we can easily spot a deal of the month, and other times it's a little more difficult.
Okay.
So I'm going to classify this one in the latter category.
Okay.
Because ultimately there wasn't anything that really jumped off the page of the 20 houses that sold this month, this past month. But I feel like if there was one that was a low-hanging fruit, it was going to be probably Homestead, in my opinion, because you're looking at a new construction home in a good location, and it's good space. Obviously, it's only 2 levels that were finished, so the square footage is actually less than one might think. It was the low 3,000s, but for it to sell in the 1.3 million range, you just don't see it very often at all in this type of location. So for that reason, that's why it is my deal of the month, Ryan.
Yeah, and just to sort of follow up on it, the location that we're talking about is it's really the corner of Webster and Homestead. It's right across from the high school, basically.
Thank you for clarifying, and that's actually, there's a reason that we're doing the clarifying on locations. We'll get to that later, but go ahead.
And you're right, and I just, as a developer, you look at it, see, this lot was purchased for $649, Rob, and it's selling for $1,335. And in between you're getting a house built.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's tight. So, I think it does speak to the buyer getting a pretty good deal.
Okay, good, yeah.
For what that's worth.
All right, so we're going to go from H to M. 11 Mayo Avenue is our next listing, and this one is, well, I'll tell you, obviously a great location. The lot size is only 6,500 square feet, but the low 8s is a new ground, for these 3-bed, 1.5 baths that are in really good locations but need some updating.
Right.
I feel like you were onto this early with the listing. I think it was on Gordon, a few months ago.
Yeah.
But a year ago, 2 years ago, you were low 7s. I feel like is what I used to associate a house like this with. But
remember we did the show when the 6s were the new 7s? I think the 8s are the new 7s.
No, the 7s were the new 6s.
7s were the new 6s. Now it's creeped up into the 8s.
Yeah, well, you can almost say the 8s are the new 6s.
Right.
Forget 7s.
7s had a quick run at this.
You got to feel for the 7s.
They didn't get it done. But this is location all day long. Mayo is a ladder street. It's one of the closer ladder streets to town. You'll see when we get to 55 Wilshire in a few minutes, Wilshire's got, I think, more going for it as a house. It's also a ladder street, and it didn't do as well as Mayo. So it's this, to me, just screams location. I think it has a ton of upside, but you're right. You're paying $809,000, and you got some work to do.
Right, and for $180,000 more, you can have 97 Meeting House Circle, Ryan, which leads into our next listing, and there's no rendering there. That's a picture, and it's red writing.
Yeah, and it's a sale price that you just don't, Rob. You don't see it every day.
Yeah, how about never?
Right. All right. Cents are rare. When you're breaking up that last dollar, it's rare.
Yeah, but at least you would think it'd be round cents, like 50
right.
or 25.
No, there's obviously a reason for that. I think we would love to hear what it is. That's not why it's my deal of the month for the seller, Rob. I just thought that the seller, I think they did well here, and I think when you look at it in side by side with Douglas, which we can't do because we're doing this alphabetically now, so it no longer will be side by side. But
sorry, Ryan.
Douglas is $995, and I think it's a house that's in a better location. It's a colonial versus a split, and from an updated standpoint, Douglas surpasses it a little bit. So I just think that for this money, I think Douglas was a better buy. But and I think the seller here did very, very well. And one of the things that they've added here on the listing sheet, Rob, is we're familiar with seeing offers, if any, due Monday at 5 o'clock.
Yes.
This one added that caveat that says seller has the right to accept an offer prior to that deadline.
Which I had never seen up until, I want to say, about 6 months, a year ago. And now you're seeing that a little bit, and I don't mind it.
I'm on the other side of that. I think then why put anything out there then?
Because as you know, and every once in a while a circumstance arises that you're in a position where you've told everybody a certain date, and for whatever reason, you're closing it beforehand and you're ruffling a lot of feathers. I think this just is a little insurance policy that protects you.
I think, and I've seen it just like you're describing, where you put that deadline out there and somebody comes in absolutely guns blazing and blows the seller away.
Yeah.
And regardless of what the realtor has put on the listing sheet, the seller's accepting the offer.
Right.
And there's not anything anybody can do about that at the end of the day.
Right.
But I think putting that reserve the right clause in there, it almost just obliterates the deadline.
Yeah,
I think it's now it's why. Okay, so now if you're reserving the right, so I have no incentive to wait. I'm going to give you my offer now.
Well, no, what you're doing is you're incentivizing somebody to come in with a monster offer.
Or you're giving you're the people who the reason you're doing the deadline is so that people can come see it on Saturday, they come see it on Sunday. There's time to get as many people in because not everybody's schedule affords them the ability to go see it on whatever time you're designating. So you're giving the advantage to the people with more flexibility.
Right.
Really, but. I don't know. It's something that, I mean, this is an ever-evolving industry. And when you're in a market like this where the buyers, like we're seeing buyers bringing home inspectors to showings and home inspectors to open houses just so they're in a better position to jump because this market's been so crazy. But it's just interesting. That's a recent sort of evolution of the offer deadline designation. But we'll keep you all posted.
Yes, I know that you want to know what comes next. And in this case, it's 88 Old Farm Road, which is a listing that's been on and off the market quite a bit, Ryan, since 2011. Any thoughts on this one?
Great street. Next one? Great street. Love the street.
Yeah.
Convenient, near town, near train, near highway, near Needham Golf Club.
All right, 168 Pine Grove is, is that Pinewood that I see there is the next listing. Did we miss Pine Grove?
What happened to Pine Grove?
Come on, Pine Grove, get in line.
Who is working the slides?
Well, why don't we just talk about Pinewood
All right, we'll
then?
go to Pinewood.
Stubborn listing. Sold for $125 in 2007.
Pinewood did.
Pinewood.
Yeah, 8276 lot size. I'd say that's a pretty good number.
Pretty good number, pretty good location as well.
Location, Ladder Street, and it's not. I don't think it's one that you're scooting down a lot. You know, it's not Bradford.
Right.
Yeah. Like who's ever on Pinewood?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
all right, next listing. It's either going to be
Pine
Pine Grove
Grove.
or Rivard.
Come
What's
on,
it going to
Pine
be?
Grove.
Ready? Drum roll.
It's Rivard.
You think it's going to be Rivard, not Pine Grove?
I mean, I can see it behind me.
Oh,
And you.
there it is.
All right.
Let's see it. 42 Rivard Road. This one sells for over $1 million, right?
Yes, it was a candidate, Rob.
It was. Yeah, I remember you saying that.
But public record shows this one at $994.7 as the sale price, not $999.99.
So how do you explain that?
Perhaps some movement in real estate agent commissions. Would be my guess, but I'm not sure. Square footage also on public record is 2128, so I think we're including some lower level space in that 3072 number.
If I had a nickel for every time we run into this on a split, right?
Yeah, right. It's
multi-level.
Not surprising, and I believe it was disclosed, but it disclosed the source as public record with the designation includes finished space, which is not something that I'm a fan of.
Right. Rivard starts with R, and Valley, Ryan, starts with V. So we're over to 94 Valley Road. And this one, I would say, the listing agent hit the nail on the head with the pricing. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Would you say the same for the Board of Assessors?
Yeah, I think they missed the mark a little bit.
I think it's just a function of the fact that this house hasn't been updated in a long time. So you're not pulling any permits. As we know, what triggers an independent look at the assessment is
pulling a permit on your house with the building department.
Closing a permit on your house. Otherwise, you're just lumped into that algorithm of here's where we think you are based on the gajillion factors that go into it.
I think if I had to go one way or the other, I think that algorithm is probably costing the town more money than it is getting them money.
For sure, but what are you doing?
Nobody
Nobody out there wants you to release that information.
Okay, sorry.
We agreed.
Okay, strike that from the record, please.
Yeah.
Can we strike that from the record?
We'll put it in the same segment that Pine Grove is in.
right. Okay, all right. We good with there? We just head over to Wachusett.
Okay.
40 Wachusett Road. We're into the W's, Ryan. This one is this one was a flip because the seller had purchased this one in 2016 for $405,000. 2015, excuse me, for $405,000.
And at that time, the lot was 5,227 feet. Now it's 5,226
square feet. I know.
So I want to know what happened to that foot.
Do you think it devalued the property?
Did the neighbor grab it? Is it the same neighbor that's out on Grove Street grabbing land?
Maybe it's on the loose, running around town. You never know.
Yeah, they bought it for 405, like you said, and then the first attempt at flipping was July of 2016 at what $699. That didn't end up with a sale, so then that was on for 118 days or so without a buyer. Okay. Now here we are again. 9 days it took this time, but at a different price.
Okay, well let's go to the last listing. Not counting Pine Grove. It's the aforementioned 55 Wilshire Park, and Of course, of all the ladder streets, Ryan, this one is the
Bottom rung.
the longest. This one is the longest. That was incorrect. And I've given you that one before.
But it's not incorrect. It's just not the answer you're looking for.
All right, fair enough. Half credit.
So this one, like we talked about, it's similar to Mayo in that they're both priced in the 760s, both sold in the 800 range. But this one's bigger and it's got more updates.
Yep.
I think this one probably should have done better compared to 11 Mayo.
Okay, interesting.
But it didn't.
Feels a little weird ending in the $800,000 range, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially without talking about Pine Grove.
Yeah, I know. Throw off my whole timing. Okay, I think enough about that. Ryan, as you know, we have a new segment that everybody's talking about around town.
Gosh, the questions are pouring in.
It's unbelievable, really. It's called the Question of the Month, and I guess let's just dive right into this one because it's something that we've heard over the years, right? And so you might even be thinking about this, viewer. It says, for half the listings, I find myself Googling the exact location. If there'd be any way to include a small map in the home slides, that would be great. Thank you, Michael, for that comment.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can call it a question.
More of a suggestion.
Yeah, I mean, we get the point.
Yeah.
It's a rhetorical question, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah, we agree.
Yeah, we
Michael.
don't disagree with you, Michael.
It'd be great. We have just, it's a bit of a resource constraint over here.
Yeah.
So if we could get an intern, that would be an excellent idea.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you have an intern?
I do.
Let's get him going.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's a great job for him.
And we did legitimately just think of that. Yeah. All right.
So stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Have all kinds of new stuff in the next episode.
Yeah, although he did just email something recently about a sale at Rochdale. So I don't know if we want to have him in charge of maps. Do you want to ask us a question and have your name read on TV and perhaps even get a gift? Because we do get a prize for any name that we or any question we read on TV.
Yeah, we had a very nice prize giving ceremony.
Wonderful. With Margaret.
This month, yeah. Last month's winner.
Correct. So
fun for everybody.
If you want to be in the mix for the question of the month, then go ahead and email it to rob.ryan@hawthornre.com. And if we read your question on the air, again, you will get a nice prize. And the last one was hand-delivered by you and me.
Right. And that wasn't the prize. It was actually something we did give it to her. So.
Yeah, that's true. It was much better, actually. Listing picture of the month is up next. And I mean, my point here, Ryan, is if you have the first picture of a listing and your listing agent puts that up, I think it's time to get a new listing agent.
Yeah, I mean, no, I agree. I mean, we do have to hold ourselves to high standards, Rob, and putting your hand in the picture is not, in my mind, a high standard.
Yeah, I mean, the only good thing that's accomplishing is taking attention away from the house.
That's not bad.
No, sorry. Okay.
Terrible.
Is that bad?
I mean.
Okay, sorry. Sorry. Market snapshot. Let's take a look at how things are looking in Needham as we look forward.
I guess. At least one of us is.
Really? All right.
58 active single-family homes as of yesterday. That is May 1st. So, yeah, that's not very many still.
No.
He had 105 last year, right? So last year, in fairness, we had a higher mix. We had more top-end houses. That's why our price was almost a 1.5, or we're at 1.4 this year.
Yep.
But I think there's still, we talk about it, there's still plenty of demand. I think we're going to wind up with the same amount of sales. It's just, we just don't have a lot of inventory. So be ready. If you're a buyer, you're going to have to jump.
Yeah, or else this spring market's going to be come and gone before you've bought anything.
Right.
If anybody would like to get a hold of us, Ryan, whether it's for the question of the month or they just want to give us a suggestion, or we are realtors, of course, so there could be any kind of... How would they reach us?
It's very easy, Rob. You can give us a call at 781-707-6564.
Yep.
You can email us at rob.ryan@hawthornre.com.
Yes.
And if you're not already, follow us on Twitter. It's very interesting. That is at Hawthorn_WMHW.
Well done, Ryan.
Thank you.
Very well done.
Thank you.
That'll do it for this month's installment of What's My House Worth. Thanks again for joining us. We hope you had a good time. We will see you again very soon. But not before. Look who it is, Ryan.
Oh, there you are, Pine Grove. We knew we wouldn't forget about you.
I've never been more proud of you than I am right now, Pine Grove.
Glad you made it.
See you, everybody.